Welcome back to All Day Live on Fox 9. Rob Olson sitting in for Amy Hockert. You know, if you filled up your gas tank within the past week or the past couple of days, you've noticed the change at the pump, and this is what we had been warned about here over the past week or so, that gas prices would go up, and they have been. According to AAA in Minnesota, we're looking at about $3.25 a gallon for the regular, 22 cents less than the national average, but again, certainly up over the last week or so. So joining us now to talk more about this, what's going on, where it goes from here, Brynna Knapp of AAA, Minnesota and Iowa. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you, Rob.
So, you know, it's how much these prices have risen and the time frame that they have gone up in, again, about maybe 42 cents or so in about a week. A lot of this pegged to what we were warned at the beginning of the conflict in Iran is that the Strait of Hormuz is effectively shut down. 20% of what the world's oil supply goes through there, largely to Asia. But this is what we're seeing. Is it all really reverberating from that one spot?
Yes, and in general, oil is part of a global market, which means when there's an impact to our supply in one part of the world, it's going to affect other parts as well, even if the U.S. doesn't heavily rely on oil from Iran.
Yeah.
We're seeing $3.25 a gallon in Minnesota, which is 42 cents higher per gallon than this time last week.
Yeah, and again, so much of that, as you mentioned, even though we don't rely on oil from that part of the world, it is sort of there's sort of a domino effect, and especially because it's you know, a market, a global commodity, and it's traded, the futures, etc. What do you guys, as you look at this, and I know, again, it's hard to have a crystal ball entirely because there's so many variables here regarding this, but what do you expect in terms of how much more they could go up over what period of time? I mean, what's sort of the general thinking right now?
Yeah, so looking at our national average, we're at $3.47 per gallon right now. And last time we saw this national average was around summer of 2024. So we've been really having stickier pricing here in the U.S. We were looking at around $3 a gallon as the national average for several months now. Our national average jumped 48 cents from last Monday, March 2nd to this Monday, March 9th. And if we're looking, you know, at some historical context here in terms of global events, that jump, 48 cents is higher than the 45-cent weekly jump that we had after Hurricane Katrina, and that was in September of 2005. So, you know, historically, when there's large global events like this, we see big jumps in pricing on oil.
Yeah, and typically prices do not fall as quickly as they rise. So, I mean, you know, again, knowing that it's hard to predict and when there's so many variables out there with this ongoing conflict, but how long do you think people should be sort of braced to deal with these higher prices?
So historically, we see pricing of gas go up, beginning around March as we see the demand for gas go up. So folks are headed on spring break road trips. We switch up to our summer fuel blend, which actually costs more to produce. So the overall price of gas does go up every year around this time period. But then this global events obviously exacerbated that. So we're not as high as the weekly jump after the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which happened in 2022. And we saw that national average jump about 60 cents during a week period. So even more than what's going on right now. And that, to answer your question, pricing tapered off around June. So the pricing peaked in June, and then we started to see things stabilize. Right now, we do see that national average appears to be stabilizing some, but we don't know if there's going to be any dramatic overnight jumps like we've seen over the last couple of days.
Yeah, and you know, I know the U.S. Energy Secretary was saying over the weekend that they're hoping that in the next few weeks they can get traffic moving through the Strait of Hormuz again, and then you would expect that that would then have that effect of stabilizing or bringing down. But all of that again is sort of the unknowns here, isn't it?
Yes, you're right on the money. We're hoping that organizations are doing what they can to make sure that we can kind of stabilize the demand and supply of the oil, and so then our prices here at the pump in Minnesota will hopefully again reach some sort of normalcy.
Yeah. Any expectations of what this might have? Again, as you mentioned, this is getting into spring break time, a lot of travel planned. I mean, you would anticipate that maybe there might be some changes in driving patterns if these can, at what point, at what price point do you typically see, I guess, when people's driving patterns change? I mean, how high does this have to go before you see that happen?
That's a great question. And just to put us into perspective, we've been enjoying some really lower prices over the last year or so. So to put things into context, still sitting at a year ago, we were at 301 per gallon. So a little bit higher than that, but still at, manageable prices right now. But we know Americans are really trying to be mindful of costs as things continue to rise in price.
Yeah.
Just think about being mindful with your trips as we continue to see this play out.
Yeah, so that's good perspective in that, yeah, they are rising kind of rapidly, but at a big picture status here, they're still lower, much lower relatively than we've seen a few years ago, certainly.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We were looking at $5 a gallon in 2022, and that was our highest record. Pricing. So again, sitting much lower than that in the grand scheme of things.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on these and see where they go, because again, it's all dependent on the way the markets go and et cetera here as things maybe get flowing around the world. But again, it's as you said, it's a commodity. It's traded. There's markets, investors, et cetera. So so much to not know at this point about the reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Brynna Knapp with AAA Minnesota and Iowa. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Looks like you have a cozy setting there. And we did see what appeared to be a dog taking a nap in the sunshine behind you, too.
I know. I did. I didn't know if he was going to be in the picture, but happy to have a little sunshine in the day.
Yeah, kind of blended in back there, but pretty nice for that. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right.